So we begin this hour with this story about several international flights at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport in Lagos, which were earlier today disrupted as workers of the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company PLC embarked on strike over salary increment and other welfare issues. Now, the strike has led to delays as airlines could not operate their scheduled flights, with many passengers billed for morning flights getting stranded as NAHCO workers were nowhere in sight to handle their flights. Now, the National Union of Air Transport Employees and the Air Transport Senior Staff Services Association of Nigeria had earlier put the workers on notice of the strike following what they called the uncooperative attitude of the NAHCO management towards resolving the welfare issues raised by the workers through the unions. In the circular issued by the unions and signed by the General Secretary Ocheme Abba and his counterpart Francis Akinjole, the workers were directed to withdraw their services until the issues are resolved. Well, joining us is Wale Shadari. He is an aviation editor and analyst, and he joins us live for more insight on the strike by NAHCO staff. Thank you for joining us on the news. One would wonder that on a day where the president is visiting Lagos, we are having this kind of incident at the airport. What are your impressions?
Hello, can you come again? I can't hear you very well.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Right. I said on a day where
I can hear you now.
On a day where the president is visiting Lagos State at that same Murtala Muhammed International Airport, we are having this kind of a situation. What are your impressions of the timing and how these people are going about this strike?
Thank you very much. I think what is happening at the international wing of the Lagos Airport. Actually, what happened was that because the president is not going to come through the international airport, he actually has a dedicated area where the president important dignitaries pass through. That's the VIP presidential wing. So that is just to clear the air on that. This morning, we woke up to the calls from so many partners that we couldn't make their trip, and we wonder what happened because we thought this problem would have been resolved. But it was an internal problem between NAHCO workers and the management, which also necessitated a meeting between the airlines that we handle. Airlines like Delta, airlines like Ethiopian Airlines, airlines like Qatar, Air France, KLM. And so what we didn't know that the problem was going to lead to what we have today right now, because a lot of people got to the airport. They were told that NAHCO workers are the handling company. NAHCO is the handling company that helps to handle aircraft, help to clean the aircraft, help with baggage, help with the processing of passengers before they can leave. But without them doing all those things, it led to a lot of chaos at the international wing of the Lagos Airport. And a lot of people were left stranded, a lot of aircraft that were about land. They had to, like Ghana, Benin Republic, and to Abuja, other cities. And that has caused enormous losses across the aviation value chain. Because whatever happens to an airline has the tendency of affecting every other airline that is handling. Is pure chaos at the airport. And we just hope that this problem will be resolved as quickly as possible. We know several in Nigeria.
And that's where my next question is. Well, if you can hear me, the association is saying that they actually embarked on the strike because of the uncooperative attitude of NAHCO's management. And you are looking at that they could resolve this issue as quickly as possible. If they are saying that the management has been uncooperative, do you see any hope in sight with this being resolved as quickly as possible?
Yes, one thing I've come to understand is that when two people go to war or two nations go to war, they will end up at the resolution table, at the table to resolve whatever problems they have. But like I said, this is not a good thing for NAHCO because just last week or 2 weeks ago, there were issue of NAHCO staff and deliberately destroying an aircraft belonging to a particular airline, which caused a lot of issue. And this week, we are also having a lot of issues concerning that company. I think the management, what they need to do, they shouldn't even have allowed it to degenerate to this level because we cannot quantify the losses across losses to airlines, losses to passengers, losses to all the value chains in the aviation industry. So for this area, for this issue to have lingered for so long, I believe that the management ought to have resolved this thing. And if they are, it means the management must be held accountable. In a good environment, NAHCO should be paying for this damage because we really can't quantify it. Because a lot of people are going back to school in the UK and in some other places, and they cannot resume, they cannot fly back to their destination, they cannot fly back to their state. So it's going to cost a lot of dislocation, a lot of things to these travelers. So they shouldn't have allowed this to happen. Aviation is a serious business. Aviation should not be handled with celebrity. We actually can, like I said, we really can quantify the losses until they begin to take stock of what has happened.
All right, we'll have to leave the conversation here now, but we must thank you, aviation editor and analyst Wale Shadari, for your time on the news. And moving on now, President Muhammad Buhari is scheduled to arrive Lagos today, the 23rd of January, at about 1:30 p.m. on a two-day working visit to the state. This is after his trip to the All Progressives Congress campaign rally in Bauchi State. President Buhari will arrive the presidential wing of the Murtala Muhammed Airport, where he would be received by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and some top dignitaries. There will be a short welcome ceremony at the airport, an inspection of the Guard of Honor by the President. Projects that will be inspected, inaugurated and commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari include the Lekki Deep Sea Port, 32 metric tons per hour Lagos rice mill at Imota, 18.75 kilometer 6-lane rigid pavement Eleko Junction to Ekpe Expressway, T. John Randall Center for Yoruba Culture and History, amongst others. The two-day trip will also include a private sector project commissioning. The president's visit to Lagos is tagged a festival of project commissioning. TVC News senior correspondent Adedoja Salam Adeni, who is at the Lekki Deep Sea Port, says all is set amid watertight security for the president's arrival for the inauguration of the largest deep sea port in sub-Saharan Africa. The phase one of the multipurpose port covers an area of 50 hectares with 2 container berths and total capacity of 1.2 million TEUs annually. In other news, the Central Bank of Nigeria has accused commercial banks of hoarding the new Naira notes as the January the 31st deadline for use of the old notes approaches. Now, the CBN made this discovery during a public sensitization and assessment of compliance with its directive for circulation of the new currency in Port Harcourt. Senior reporter Uche Okoro has details.
Our currency, make we carry out with full chest, make we carry out with dignity.
The Port Harcourt branch of the Central Bank of Nigeria visited markets to raise awareness about the expiration of the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes. Their aim is to increase the public acceptance of the redesigned notes ahead of the final transition. With less than 2 weeks to the CBN deadline, a tour of some commercial banks in the capital city revealed that the new Naira notes are still in very short supply.
They should do something about it because they said by the 31st of this month, these notes will cease to circulate. So I don't see the reason that they are still paying it out.
But it has been long. They said they should be giving us a new money. Up to now, I have never seen it.
In its defense, the CBN said more than 2 billion naira of the new currency is pumped into the state's banking system daily. And so it says that the commercial banks owe the public an explanation for their failure to dispense the new notes.
They received money from Central Bank of Nigeria even yesterday and today. And the money is in their vaults. One of the banks is a regional hub and has not distributed money to other branches.
Almost 3 billion naira injected into Port Harcourt in just one day, and you go around and the ATM machines and you don't see them. Our actions this morning, one of the banks that we went to, just our presence alone forced them to start up, load all their ATM machine. And that was just around 10 a.m.
According to the CBN, defaulting commercial banks will be penalized.
There will be serious consequences for hoarding this money or for giving them to special customers. So that is the experience. None of the banks we've been to this morning is dispensing the new Naira.
Even though many Nigerians are yet to see or spend any of the new notes, there are those who have experienced the joy or skepticism of doing so.
I'm excited having the new note because it's actually newly introduced, and so having it and spending it is an excitement.
I'm more than happy this month. I don't want to spend it until I get more of the new ones.
Nigerians are waiting to see. Can the CBN match its words with action in dealing with the commercial banks, or is an extension of the January 31st deadline the best alternative? Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.